Hello and welcome from Disney's Animal Kingdom. Here nice and early, nice and refreshed after my crazy first 2 days here in Florida. I'm very excited. The second time I've actually been to this park. The last time that I was here at Disney, I did it for the first time. However, there was no Land of Avatar. So that is going to be the main focus that I do today. Got my hands quite full. The thing about Disney that I do enjoy when you're entering, though, you can kind of come in with your stuff. A lot of parks, they don't allow you, like SeaWorld last night. You could barely take anything into the park for obvious reasons. It's not that safe. Whereas here, really it's Disney, right? So it's the safest of the parks. Everyone is gunning for the obvious attraction that you can think of, which is going to be the same thing that I'm going to be doing for the first time today. Kind of wish that I could go over to the other side of the park where it's going to be slower, i.e. where Dinosaur is, one of my favorite indoor dark rides. I'll probably be doing a couple spins on that today. It's kind of like a mad dash to get into Pandora right now for obvious reasons, whereas Flight of Avatar was somewhere in the range of 2-hour wait yesterday on a Friday, and it being a Saturday, it'll probably be much longer than that at some point in the afternoon. I will admit this park is absolutely stunning. And this is the first time I've come into the world of Pandora. But it's the first time I'm seeing these floating mountains. It's very impressive. However, I'm gonna say, I've seen the real thing in China, so at the same time, sadly, it's not as impressive as the real thing. But it's impressive nonetheless. It wasn't supposed to rain the entire time that I am in Florida. It's raining today. So maybe that will bode well for attractions here. We'll see. Animal Kingdom is a primarily outdoor park. There's nowhere to hide from the rain in this park other than, say, in the jungle. Insider tip that if you want your hour wait at the start of the day to go smooth, get a coffee.
Yeah. Well, and I
will admit the line is moving so quickly that I can't even get enough coverage. Also with the coffee, it's a little bit of a juggle here, but the sight lines are just so impressive. All right. I know I said, I've been to Zhangjiajie, which inspired this place. But yeah, the detail is just remarkable. It also, because I know that the standby line won't give you these sight lines, I got to enjoy it for this one time that I'm actually in the main queue.
Well, not the base, because the base is the weekend. What, because we're there on most days, on the weekend or something like that. About $100 on
weather systems now.
Okay, sealed genetic matching room. Okay, Dr. Stevens, they're ready.
Can everyone see me?
No.
Great. Welcome to the Avatar program. Soon, you're going to have a chance to undertake an amazing Navi rite of passage, flying on the back of this powerful animal called an Ikron, or as we call it, a Banshee. The way you're going to do this is by being matched to something called an avatar. And I'm here to help you guys get ready. But first, we have to scan you for Pandora and microparasites. Alright everyone, stay on your number and move your arms a bit. Okay, start scan. You've all got them. But don't worry, they're very common around these parts. Let's start the decon.
Initiating GMR decon.
Stay still over your number, you're not gonna feel a thing.
We're all clear.
Great. Now let's go over how all this works. Like I said before, you're going to be matched to these things called avatars, which look a lot like the Navi. They're created by blending human DNA and Navi DNA. Once we match you to an avatar, thanks to a special link chair, your mind will be able to control that avatar. Using avatars to fly this way was all figured out by my boss, Dr. Jackie Ogden. She leads our science team, which is part of the Pandora Conservation Initiative, and we're here in the Valley of Moara studying banshees and their environment. Over a generation ago, this enormous company called the RDA created a lot of damage to the area through their bad mining practices and conflicts with the Navi. Just like on Earth, it can take decades for ecosystems to recover. One way to understand what's going on with an ecosystem is to study what are called Keystone Species. These are animals like tigers, jaguars, seals. The banshee is one of these important animals. Dr. Ogden is the foremost expert on studying the ikran and has spent years researching them. Unfortunately, banshees live high in rookeries and humans can't get anywhere near them without becoming their lunch. But the Navi and avatars can. In fact, the Navi have been riding on the backs of banshees since their earliest history. Thanks to science, avatars can ride on banshees too. That's why you're linking to an avatar. It was Dr. Ogden who restarted the Avatar program. It's because of her that you're able to go through this rite of passage today. Pandora is a breathtaking natural world. I cannot wait for you guys to see it for yourselves. So, let's get ready for our next... Huh? I'll be right back. Put the standby system on, quickly.
Standby. We're looking into delays with the genetic matching system. Starting system-wide diagnostics. Help us out and move around a little.
Okay, to get you flying on a banshee, we need to find each of you an avatar. Let's prep the genetic sampling.
I'm on it.
Okay, first we need to find the compatible match of your genetic material with the genetic material of one of the avatar bodies that we already have. Once we do that, you'll be able to link to that avatar and fly. Help us out and move around a bit. Almost. Yes, got him. Now, let's find you your avatar matches.
Yo, why does mine have such a big head?
All right, you've all been matched with avatars. Looks like they're ready for you in the next room. When the door opens, please go inside, all the way in, and stand over the same number that you're standing over now.
That's pretty cool already.
Before we send you into the link chamber, let's watch this piece by Dr. Ogden, who runs the program.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Jackie Ogden from the Pandora Conservation Initiative. You're about to experience a ceremony that's very special to the Navi, flying on the back of an ikran. or as we call it, a banshee. To the Navi, connecting to an ikran and flying on its back is an incredibly important rite of passage they call Ikni-Maya. With permission from the Navi and in partnership with Alpha Centauri Expeditions, we can now bring this amazing experience to you. The way you'll be able to fly is by linking to an avatar that's already on the back of an ikran. Let's see how this works.
We establish a link using powerful psionic amplification equipment. A human driver is connected to an avatar, which could be physically hundreds of kilometers away. When you follow our technician into the link chamber, you'll see a series of 16 link chairs. Please go to the number that matches the number you're standing on now. First, stow your gear in the storage containers on the back wall. This should include all bags, cameras, and other items, including cell phones. It's important to push them all the way into the bin. Then get onto the chair as you would a bike. Straddle the seat, step forward, and sit down. Slide your hips forward until you are against the chest pad, and then move your feet all the way forward. Wait until you're seated before you put on your flight visors. Hold on to the hand grips as shown. It's important to hold on to the hand grips at all times. After you're seated, back and leg restraints will be firmly engaged. For your safety, throughout this entire experience, always remain seated and supervise your children.
Once the link takes place, you'll be connected to your avatar and sitting on the back of an ikram. It'll feel like you're really there. Moments later, you'll begin your flight. A Navi guide will lead you out. You'll experience the breathtaking beauty of Pandora, but you might also face some of its greatest challenges. Some of this flight might be intense, but trust your guide and be brave. As the Navi say during this important rite of passage, Sivak Ho, rise to the challenge. Good luck.
All right, you ready? Let's get you into the link chambers.
All right, travelers, so during your flight, you will be restrained and height from the ground on the floor is moving for 4.5 minutes. If you have your height, suffer from motion sickness, or you're unable to maintain for those 4.5 minutes and you'd like to out, please let me know to make our way to the next room. Now, in numbers of 1 through 8, you're going to fall behind me first, then fall by 9 through 16.
Attention drivers, stow your gear on the back wall and then get onto the link chair the way we showed you in the video. Then put on your flight visors. For your safety, throughout this entire experience, remain seated, lean forward, holding onto the hand grips, and supervise your children.
Para su seguridad, durante toda esta experiencia deberán permanecer sentados, inclinarse hacia adelante agarrando las barras y supervisen a sus niños. Gracias.
Then put on your flight visors. For your safety, throughout this entire experience, remain seated, lean forward, holding onto the hand grips, and supervise your children.
Para su seguridad, durante toda esta experiencia deberán permanecer sentados, inclinarse hacia adelante agarrando las barras y supervisen a sus niños. Gracias.
Gotta record your first impressions. I'm speechless yet again for the second time in 2 days, because that was really kind of like out of this world, obviously, no pun intended, but wow. Flight of Passage, like that was probably, it really kind of enticed me to think, hey, I better do like a top 10 or top 5 simulator rides of all time. Because I'm gonna have to think about that, because that might have been the best simulator I've ever been on. The one thing I would say is that it was lacking a bit of conflict. There was that one scary moment, or there was a couple of scary moments, but other than that, it was really just kind of like taking in the awe of what they just really presented you there, because it was pretty outstanding. And also, what great timing as you come out of here, and then the floating mountain is just in the sun now, and it's in a beautiful little location. It really feels like the film is just continuing outside here on the exit ramp. So you got the full experience up until the ride there. Unfortunately, yeah, you didn't get to actually shoot on the ride, but that makes perfect sense because there would just been no way to do it. The most fascinating thing for me was that transition between the doors opening into the screening room. You don't even really notice it. I didn't enjoy the 3D. Again, the images were a bit separating for my eyesight. I don't know if it's my eyesight or what it is, but generally I struggle with 3D attractions. But it wasn't overly bearing, or maybe I had a bad pair of glasses. Like I said, I have another ride coming up in the afternoon, so I will give a report about whether or not maybe it was a little bit better with the glasses that I have for the second trip. But I can't really say anything other than, wow. It's probably the longest I'll ever wait for a simulator, to be honest. The wait was exactly as posted, 75 minutes. Oddly enough, and a good tip for you guys, is that if you are coming here early into the day like I did, everybody rushed to this ride, as you noticed in the video beginning. But the ride is now on a 50-minute wait, or a little under an hour. So if you want and you can do it, maybe try one of the attractions that's on an extremely short wait first, and then get over to this attraction, because you'll have a little shorter of a wait getting inside. I'll keep you posted on whether or not that changes throughout the day. I don't have too long here today. I have about till 4 o'clock, so that's going to give me about 6 hours. I have more than enough time to actually get everything I need done, including 2 rides on this amazing attraction. As far as Navi River Journey is concerned, it's now on almost comparable weight to this attraction, which you really never see. So I'm gonna save that for later in the day, and hopefully most of the people that came out of this attraction now, I think, have just jumped over to do the Navi River Journey, and then after that they're gonna do whatever else they want to do in the park. So I'm gonna reverse that. I'm gonna go over and do one of my favorite rides of all time, and then I'm gonna come back here later on and get this whole experience once again. Wow, it was definitely great. Maybe not as intense as one would expect. Probably the most intense moment for anyone was the restraint slapping you in the back just before you actually get onto the ride. They're also, like, make sure you watch out for those seats too, because there was glitter all over my seat. So I had to, like, wipe that off so it didn't get on my jeans. And the person next to me in the ride was really overwhelmed by the experience, and you could hear it. All right, so let's go into Animal Kingdom and check out the rest of the park.
You know what we're supposed to do.
Pandora for the first time. I'm going to be back later. I'm going to go to the older side of the park now, and yeah, still flabbergasted. We'll be back to do some more coverage of it. Wouldn't it be amazing if in that floating mountain they actually had an attraction of some sort built inside? That's the only thing I think I would have changed as far as this whole area is concerned, because that would have been really cool if somehow they managed to put something in there. Obviously it wouldn't really have worked from a structural standpoint with this mountain that they have now, because I don't think the supports would be able to handle the weight of passengers and a whole ride system within it. But it's Disney, anything's possible here, right? So maybe that's something that they could think of in the future as a floating attraction. That would definitely be worth checking out. Lily pads and swamps and Everglades, fascinating to a Canadian. Floridians walk right past. The only person taking pictures of that lake or river. All right, I'm not completely back up to 100% on my sleep. So the word slips and the ride misnamings are happening as per always, but at least we're here. That's all that counts, right? All right, let's continue our journey deeper into Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, I don't like turkey bumpers.
The thing about Animal Kingdom is that it is really stunning. So when you actually, there's nowhere within this place that you can actually not stop and take it all in. Shout out to the gent that I just met talking about having beers within the park. Last time I was here, I was actually crushing beers. I don't know, that's not exactly a Disney experience. And now I'm not drinking, so the next time that I come back, maybe that will not be the case. But I do remember spending a lot of time doing a pub crawl at this place. There's no pubs, but we hit up the beer stands a lot. Yeah, because it's sunny, it can be a bit lot to take in on a hot day. Welcome to Dinoland, home formerly to an attraction that I never got to go on. 2 missed credits that are long removed but long maligned by coaster enthusiasts, being the dual wild mouses that used to be located here. In fact, 7 years ago when I was here last, I guess it was 6 years ago when I was here last, maybe. Now it was 7. Time does fly. Don't need to see Crocs because we already were at, well actually you see the difference between a crocodile and a gator? Well, you can find it here at Animal Kingdom. Well, Matt. The last time I was here, I was blown away by this attraction. So much so that it was an immediate re-ride. I didn't expect it to be as thrilling as I expected, but it was. Beyond expectation, and that's Dinosaur, which I'm very glad to be doing. Again, I fear that this ride might have a retrofit in the future to something different or a new attraction or a new IP. So I'm gonna get my time in with it now.
Come on, then we won't take a picture in front of it.
Thank you for your cooperation.
These are all dinosaurs.
If I can bring you back from the Cretaceous period, it stands to reason that I can bring back a live dinosaur with you. And not just any dinosaur. Take a look at this guy. is an iguanodon, and I'm certain that he is the key to understanding these magnificent creatures.
I tagged him with a locator during an unauthorized field trip. Otherwise, I'd be traveling with you. Right now, our dino should be about here, at the very end of the Cretaceous period. That's where you're going today.
Arrived, it seems, just in time to correct a little misstatement.
Dr. Marsh.
That is impossibly close to the giant asteroid impact that destroyed most life forms on Earth. Our tours are designed to take you to the early Cretaceous period, and I can assure you that all time rollers have been securely locked on those coordinates.
That's right. See? Securely locked.
Dinosaur all done. I actually did 2 rides on it. I did another ride just after my POV there in the front left. Probably should have taken video of that because for some reason in that seat I got a better perspective of everything. Really love that ride still. It's hard to believe that it's the exact same ride layout, and it's obviously the same ride system as Indiana Jones and other parks. Very impressed. Still, I love the contrast between the bright and dark that you kind of go through in that journey. It would be very kind of creepy if you had to, you know, go through the actual ride building, say on your own, like if you were just walking through there, because it's so dark. That's the one thing I love about the ride, is that you just don't know what to expect if you haven't done it before. So for younger kids doing it that aren't really that brave, it probably is quite an intense experience. And yeah, that ride system, I wish that they had done more concepts with it, because it's just probably the best, really, like when it comes to dark rides that aren't trackless. And even the trackless rides that come out nowadays, they're now, the initial awe associated with those rides is kind of worn off a bit. Whereas this ride, because of the intensity of the way the vehicle moves and going up those hills and down the hills in the various levels, or the 2 levels of the station or the ride building, yeah, it's just a really kind of cool, impressive ride for what it is. Some of the tech is a little out of date, so if they are going to update the ride, I'd say I would work on that, because, you know, the actual time warp system, yeah, you know, it's not really that much different than what you see in most nightclubs nowadays. So yeah, that could probably do with a bit of updating. But other than that, still a solid ride. I think probably twice is enough for a day. Because if you haven't done it before, you definitely want to do it twice on both sides if you can manage it, because then you get a full idea of what the ride's all about and really don't miss any, and not miss any details throughout. All right, well satisfied. I've only done 3 rides in 2.5 hours of being here. I think that's going to change in a moment, though, as one thing about Animal Kingdom is that there's not a ton of attractions here. So there's basically like 5 major attractions, that being Kilimanjaro Safari, Dinosaur, which I've just done, Navi River Journey, Flight of Passage, Avatar, and then the ride that I'm going to next. Especially because these coasters aren't here anymore. But we're gonna just go through Dino-Rama and the Dinoland. It's mainly for kids. I'll see you in a second at the premier attraction here at Animal Kingdom. I generally like Disney to have, you know, an area sort of visible as far as, can't see over the fence, but just beyond here is where the former wild mouses were. Let's see if we can get a better perspective on another side. Primeval Whirl. I didn't get to do ya. Not a great ride, but great for your credit list if you want to pad it up. But that opportunity is long past now, unfortunately for me. It is a rather large space, however, that I'm curious to know, as is probably anyone, what exactly they're going to do with when the time comes.
number 22 now. It's a nice spin ride out here. Yes, still have a great time. How you doing? Okay.
Had my lunch, as I said just before noon, was definitely the plan. I have adopted the Disney app, just so you know. The second day there was a little bit of a learning curve with it. Just getting the Genie all mastered. I've only got the one lightning lane pass for, as I said, Flight of Passage for later on today. Well worth it. Even after a couple hours of being in this park as opposed to yesterday in Hollywood Studios, I love this park. It's really kind of like now competing against Epcot as my favorite, and probably one of my top parks already. There's not a ton of attractions, but the theming and the feel and the atmosphere of it is just undeniably good. Yeah, it's so impressive, and we're about to hit the most impressive part of it right now as far as I'm concerned. Although this ride isn't like one of my favorites when it comes down to what most of you watch this channel for, I will say that it is one of the best themed in the world for sure, and that is Expedition Everest. Because it's one of the more recent creations by Disney, you know, they've taken the best aspects of the three other parks that they built here and really learned from the experience. And even though, like I said, it doesn't have a huge ride offering, boy does it have a lot else when it comes down to atmosphere and theming. And really, I shouldn't say there's the lack of attractions here, because there is a lot for the kids to do. And there's a ton of exhibits to check out as well, which is what this place is all about. Now, I did say that I wouldn't... Actually, it's worth mentioning for my partner, who is a Disney obsessive and really not happy about the fact that they're not here with me. And in fact, while I was exiting, or actually in the line for Flight of Passage, they were texting me about health plan options, and I'm like, I'm experiencing Pandora for the first time. Now's not the time. But I also mentioned that Mickey would not appear in any of my vlogs, but I'm willing to contradict myself now, as we get a little bit of a blow. Now that they're here, we better get our position, because somebody's gonna...
Welcome to the world's most magical celebration. Cast your eyes to the Discovery River, where Mickey and his friends are having fun, celebrating 50 years of Disney magic. Wherever you are, wave hello as they cruise by.
Also haven't even mentioned the entire time that it is obviously the 50th anniversary. I say obvious a lot, but it is obvious because it's posted everywhere. Later in the day it's busier, but I like the plan that I've put into effect. Now that it's sunnier, more sun is out, let's say, Cali River Rapids, while posted on a 5-minute wait the whole day, I'm sure is going to get a bit busier. I'll admit that Vekoma is sounding a lot more rigid than it has in the past visit that I had here, although the ride was only about 3 years old when I was here last, so it's had some time to work itself in and age a bit. So let's see what the differences actually are here on Expedition Everest. unscheduled stop on Everest and an audience on the train for this event. Oh, we're back. At least you can see me, and yeah, 2 rides on Expedition Everest done. Not as thrilling as I remember it, sadly, but you know, first time experiences are always going to be the most impressionable. Still a great ride, however. I got 2 rides right in the middle of the train and a little closer to the front on my second. Lots more force on the front section I've noticed, however, as opposed to the middle that I rode. Yeah, Yeti's not working. No surprise there. Kind of disappointing as always that, you know, when you know the history of the Yeti and the fact that they still haven't managed to get that thing to work. And you know, there's billions of videos on YouTube about the complications involving that. So Disco Yeti is what you get. And yeah, having ridden Rock and Roller Coaster yesterday and some other rides that were a little bit more higher in the thrill factor, it's really all about the atmospherics with this ride. Still crazily themed and really one of the best in the world in that regard. But this is a $100 million coaster, and I feel, you know, the technology is what it is. It's not exactly current now by any stretch of the imagination, but still a great ride and perfect for this park. All right, I'm gonna head over to Cali River Rapids. I'm going back to Cali. I only have ridden it once, so it's on a 10-minute wait despite the queue times starting to get quite heavy here at the park now. We're gonna play the same thing as we did yesterday with Hollywood Studios and presume that around 1:30 the queues will sort of lighten up, which is when I'll go to Navi River Journey. So I just have Cali River Rapids and Kilimanjaro Safari to do, and then the day is done. So we're gonna continue our loop through Animal Kingdom and yeah, maybe check out some animals at the same time. Ooh. And you know, I do have to do A Bug's Life, or It's Tough Being a Bug. Hopefully I'll be able to get into that before my day is through. And my return also back to Expedition Everest to try to get into the back of the train at some point. I was spoiled the first time that I rode it because I did get a first row ride, which is kind of a rarity considering that the line usually is long for that attraction. So I know what that experience is all about. So I'm trying to get to the back. If time permits, I'll try to get on that again. But we gotta get to the other attractions first.
She had a blast. I'm just here so that when I take Stephen out, I want to do stuff.
moja mucho.
No, pero está más acá.
Aquí se moja. Ah, que se lo ajusten.
All right, stay seated, stay buckled, have fun.
Una balsa, papi, de acá, ven acá, había allí.
There's some rough water ahead.
Me parece que... Ah, pero mira, yo puedo... Me parece que como salí está el secador ese humano. Ah, no, pero me voy a meter el pelo aquí. La papita de que está.
Alright, here we go. Here we go up a ramp. I don't think this is going to be as good as Infinity Falls, although I've been on this ride 7 years ago. Considering I got soaked last night, it shouldn't be so bad regardless of how it goes. It's so short. Like honestly, it's the shortest raft ride all. Like compared to Infinity Falls yesterday, I'm not really a fan. Especially the one in Shanghai, Disney is so much better than this ride. So yeah, it's a one ride special, I'll say that much. Cool drop. This is actually more fun.
Un guia leggerà quando pueda subir. Por favor, salgan con cuidado de la balsa a la plataforma.
I remember the first time getting off of this raft ride and thinking it was short, and I'm doubling down on it. It's just so short. Like you're on and you're off. It's not without its good features and amazing theming. It seems to be a recurrent theme in today's vlog of me saying this is Disney, so you kind of expect, you know, a 5 to 10 minute experience on every ride. I don't know, it just seems very, it's one and done. It's really, really fast. Yeah, it's still good. I wouldn't say not do it, but yeah, I'm also pretty dry, despite how terrified the people on the raft that were with me were, and all prepared to not get wet. It's really sunny, so like I'll be dry in a matter of minutes anyway. All right, we're gonna go and do our final 2 attractions on the other side of the park. Yes, for a fee that's rather expensive, you can feed some more annoying guests to the tigers. It's a new feature here at Animal Kingdom. Unfortunately, I don't have the cash to do it today. Bad jokes, right? Alright, we're going inside. I gotta put on my mask. I just remember the last time going through this section and being very impressed by it. Haven't really checked out any animals today, so get prepared because that is going to be happening in the next portion of this vlog.
The reason why is because Komodo dragons, even though they're amazing at hunting, they are...
In Detroit. Right there. Oh, I'm looking for a tiger. I didn't know it was nice. No wonder I couldn't see him.
As I remember from last time being here is that the tigers do not come out in the middle of the day as it's hot, but I'm pretty sure any one that has cats knows that. They do their business at night or in the evening. Yeah, what is that, a gazelle? Now this tiger's out proving me wrong, as per usual. Heard me talking. Oh, thanks for the cameo. The jungle trek continues. One day I'd love to go to Burma, formerly known as Burma. I have a bit of a history with vlogging and birds. Check out my original Laron vlog if you are not sure what I'm talking about. But I don't feel safe in this area. I don't know what I did to them. They don't like me. I think I'm getting a bird phobia now. Or developing a bird phobia.
Make sure we give them a path to walk, you guys.
Oh, that was a peacock, but those are pheasants. No wonder they get poached all the time. Lots of meat. Never had pheasant meat, but I guess it's all right since it's illegal to poach them. Chains are a cool feature, but they actually they serve a purpose to keep the birds from getting out.
Oh, look, there's Stampede. That's the character. Already been at.
We're gonna move on. We're going back to Pandora. It is just before 2 o'clock. Just to update on my prediction, looks like it didn't work. As the lines are as heavy as they have been all day, actually the heaviest that they've been all day, including Kilimanjaro Safari, almost an hour wait. I'm gonna end the day possibly over there and do that ride before, or that attraction, it's more appropriate to call it, at the end of my day here. So we're going to do another flight, which I'm not going to show you on camera, and then we're going to do the Navi River journey, which will be my first time. I don't think I really am going to want a second hey for the day, but who knows, we'll see when I get there. Bit of the old Disney roulette as I'm leaving 10 minutes between my Navi River journey and my fast pass for Flight of Passage right next door. So here's hoping that I will have enough time. I'll probably leave the line if it doesn't get to the point where I can get out in time. But I have a feeling it should be all right. I basically will walk off of this and then go straight on to Flight of Passage. And then that just leaves Kilimanjaro for me to end my evening. So here we go. I'll give you an update in a moment to see how this works out. Although if you see some Navi River journey footage, you can probably figure out what is actually going on. So regretfully, my planning was not so great, and I did actually leave the line for Navi River Journey, or Navi River Journey, and get my second ride on Flight of Passage through. A couple of notes on that. I didn't notice that the seats breathe, which is kind of like a cool sensation. There's all sorts of like sensors within, or motion vibrators that are located in various parts of the seats to give you that sensation in the seat itself of actually being on a creature. And yeah, they pretty impressive. Actually, that was very much a better ride because I was in the center of the train. I'm so tired, and I already have shot this, and now it's the second time I'm all over the place. But this is the end of the day, and this is the end of my Animal Kingdom adventure. Unfortunately, I did not get on Navi River Journey because it's on a 75-minute wait, which is the longest wait that it's had the entire time that I've been here, or even yesterday when I was checking the app. I can't justify waiting an hour and 15 minutes for this ride, so especially because I have something else that I need to do later on today in Orlando, so I'm gonna make my way out of here. Yeah, Flight of Passage was great on the second trip because being in the center, so I was in seat 8, which is kind of the dead center of the screen, you really get a lot of that, it really heightens the effect of the simulator because of that. And it was very entertaining and enjoyable. Obviously no surprises on the second trip around, but you know, if I was here and it was a dead day, I would definitely give it a third go. Regretfully, that does mean that I'm not going to get on Navi River Journey probably for a long time, because since this is a whole new section of Disney, or at least of Animal Kingdom, I probably won't be spending the money to come back anytime soon until they have an actual new attraction. So I'm gonna head out of here because every time I pull out the camera there seems to be people that are collecting around. So we're gonna head out back through Discovery Island. I'll probably do It's Tough to Be a Bug before I head out, just for one final attraction, and then make my way out. So we'll see you over there. Hopefully, if it doesn't have, like, say, a 45-minute wait. If it does, then we'll see you outside. Most useful to you guys, and a great tip, is that you need to make sure that you kind of get your rides in before 3 o'clock, because it seems that's the peak time, at least in this park, as all the park hoppers come to this park. It is Saturday, so it should be predictable that it would be busier at that time, but I didn't really plan that well.
That's a sight that never gets old. How incredible is that? Thank you all so much. Keep your cameras up and ready. You never know when our birds are going to head out of here in a flurry of color. Check out those birds right there. That is Wally and Sammy Joe. Those are the blue bird in the clouds we were telling you about.
I just missed that, as those birds literally just swooped and attacked all those families on the way to this ride, or this experience. Kind of cheered me up there. Not that I'm in a crummy mood, I'm a little bit tired. It's been a lot of parks I've done now. If I could do it off the top, this is the 5th park in 2 days. You gotta think about that now. You gotta think about that. Is today Saturday? Yeah, it is. So it's my 5th park in 2.5 days. And I'm still going to more. Small little U-turn for the end of my day here. I'm gonna do It's Tough to Be a Bug, or It's Hard to Be a Bug. I did this as the last attraction the last time that I was here, so it seems to be a tradition running for me. I'm fortunate that I'm not getting on 2 premier attractions, but it looks like I can walk on to this one and then end my day here at Animal Kingdom, so I'll give you a sum up of that in a moment. This is easily my favorite show building of all time. The detail that went into this structure is unbelievable. I'm sure someone knows how many animals are carved into the tree. You could spend an entire day here counting them all, to be honest. just got out of It's Tough to Be a Bug. I have to say, it's a fantastic attraction. Frightening for kids, I'll say, as you could probably hear just on the way out there. But yeah, you just can't miss it. And I have a feeling, or I've heard also through the grapevine, that it's apparently under threat because it is a little bit too intense for the young ones. But overall, it's just a very impressive, 40, 70, whatever D it is presentation. Not so keen on the 3D in the front row as I was in the front. It was really hard to adjust the eyes for it. But overall, what a great little show for 10 minutes of your time, and well worth it. And it's never really on away here either, so yeah, if you do get the chance and you haven't seen it before, check out this original show before it's too late. Alright, I'm gonna head out of here. It's the end of my day. I have to say it's a little disappointing I didn't get Navi in. It is what it is. I should have probably planned that better. Maybe stayed in the line. That's my own fault. Sometimes you gotta leave yourself something to look forward to on the next trip in. But I've never heard any amazing reviews about it. I've already seen the POVs, and I honestly never seen anything there that made me say, oh my god, I have to see that, other than the animatronic at the end of the journey. So for a 2-minute, 3-minute ride, an hour and a half wait, it's just gonna be a little bit too much to me after Rise of the Resistance's wait. And I kind of want to get out of Disney now. I've had enough for this particular trip. I hope they're not listening, but I'm sure they are, because they're already sending me pictures through the app of rides that I've been on, which is kind of strange. Kind of makes you feel a little Big Brother-ish. Got to keep my mouth down. All right, we're headed out.
No, we didn't know that.
I might as well end this somewhat humorously, because I don't mean to. I'm not actually dissing Disney. I used to work for them back in the day, believe it or not, in one of their many subsidiaries. But that was a short, or a fairly long time ago now. Short and long, I gotta make up my mind. But yeah, particularly I just can't really be around. Particularly, I'm kind of just needing to get out of the families that are here, that kind of have kids that are like, what are you doing? You're here alone? These guys don't seem to mind. They're not asking any funny questions like, what you doing here? Oh, is that kind of stuff you do? It just reminds me of yesterday where I was in line for Rise of the Resistance and getting a huge interrogation from these well-meaning guys, but everything from like the wristband that I had on, my t-shirt, there was a question associated with everything. I don't really need that many questions unless I'm in an interrogation room, and hopefully that never happens. Anyhow, I'm gonna get out of here before Disney pulls me into their interrogation rooms and says, what is it that you've been saying on your way out? And also I do want to come back to this park one day. Probably not, I hope it's not 7 years before I come back, because obviously so much has changed here with the addition of Pandora. Although it was under construction when I was here last. Given that I'm leaving just shortly after 3, you can really kind of get your stuff done in this park outside of like every single attraction and show within half a day and then hop off to another one. I'm not doing that today. I have some business in Orlando to take care of. All right, guys. Well, this is it. We're at the exit. I'm headed back into town. Thank you for joining me. And as always, enjoy.
Lock the door.